Continuing our reading in Ereth's Birthday by Avi. Today we finish this wonderful book. Next time I will start the next book. But today is chapter 27, Ereth's Birthday. Ereth led the way, the three foxes trotting by his side. With the porcupine limping, they moved slowly. Now and again the foxes darted off, but they never went far, and they always came back. At first they chatted quite a bit, asking Ereth questions about where he lived, how he lived, whom he lived with, along with countless queries about Poppy. Ereth answered very little. To most questions he said, "You'll see," or "None of your business, nit-nose." So the foxes chatted among themselves. It was continual, it was loud, and was not without some bickering. Ereth paid little mind, but waddled slowly, steadily on. It had taken one day for Ereth to come from his home to Long Lake. The return trip took 2 days. There were moments he felt he should just turn around and go with the foxes to their den, but he kept reminding himself that he wanted to be in his own dark and smelly home. He also needed to see Poppy. Of course, as he limped along, he occasionally thought about the salt he'd left behind in the cabin. Perhaps someday he would go back. But as he mused on when that day might be, he suddenly stopped. "What's the matter?" Flip asked him. "I'm very old," Ereth whispered. Though he found himself glancing over his shoulder from time to time, he said no more. They arrived home the following day, just about noon. It was Columbine, playing about at the foot of the snag, who first saw them coming. "Uncle Ereth!" she cried with delight. "You're back!" "No, of course I'm back, you dull dab of bobcat whittle. Where else would I be?" "But you've been gone so long." Then Columbine saw the three foxes. Frightened, she turned tail and raced into the snag. In moments, Poppy ran out. She was joined by Rye and the rest of the litter. "Ereth," Poppy cried, "where have you been?" Ereth wanted to burst out with all that had happened. Instead, he said, "No, I'm busy." "But you were gone for a month. We were worried." You were?" "Of course we were." Poppy looked over to the three foxes. "Are these friends of yours?" Absolutely. This is Tumble, Nimble, and Flip. Guys, this is Poppy and her husband Rye. These mice are named Columbine, Maribosa, Snowberry, Walnut, Verbena, Scrub Oak, Piscicua, Crabgrass, Locust, Sassafras, and Ragweed the Second. How do you do, Tumble, Nimble, and Flip?" the young mice chorused. Rye considered the foxes nervously. "Are they safe?" he asked Ereth. Strict vegetarians." "Oh, okay." The foxes, remembering all the tales Ereth had told, gazed at the famous Poppy with awe. She was so small, but she had done so much. It was Poppy who said, "Ereth, did you realize that on the day you went off, it was your birthday?" Is that so?" Ereth replied, trying not to frown. I guess I forgot." Sassafras ran over to Poppy and whispered into her ear, "Ma, Ereth, you know." Oh, my, yes," Poppy said. "You really should." With that, all 11 of the young mice raced back into the hole at the base of the snag. "It's just a little something Rye and I, and the children, got for your birthday," Poppy explained. "We went to get it for you that morning." Ereth could feel himself blushing. It didn't seem to me that..." "The children said they tried to get you to stay, but you rushed off." The young mice reappeared, rolling forward a large lump of salt, the lump being 6 times the size of any one of the youngsters, all of whom were trying to be helpful. There was much slipping and falling, squeaking and laughing. "Happy birthday, Uncle Ereth!" they cried in unison when they finally reached the porcupine. It was Rye who explained, "You see, Ereth, Poppy and I got it from the salt block at New Farm. Unfortunately, it took us longer to drag it back than we thought it would, By the time we got it home, you had gone. And we had no idea where, Poppy added. And then the storm came, Rye said. We began to think something might have happened to you, Poppy went on. Really, Ereth, we were very worried, but we didn't know where to look. When you go off that way, you really must leave some word. I began to think something awful had happened to you. I've been very upset. Eyes glued to the ground, Ereth stood there open-mouthed, incapable of saying a word. Salt, he muttered finally, already drooling. Speech, Uncle Ereth! Sassafras cried. Birthday boys have to make speeches! Ereth took a deep breath. Pull the chain and grab 5 mops, he managed to say, even as tears began to roll down his cheeks. I don't know what to say, he muttered between sobs, except, thank you. Thank each and every one of you. The next moment, the 11 young mice started to sing, Happy Birthday! In a very ragged chorus. The 3 foxes joined in with howls of their own. Ereth could not wait until they were done. He snatched up the salt and began to lick it in a frenzy of delight. The mice cheered. The foxes brayed. And if Ereth's tears made the salt a little saltier than usual, that might explain why, as far as the old porcupine was concerned, it was the best tasting salt he had ever eaten in his whole long life. Indeed, as the years went by, and Ereth grew truly old, and his quills became gray and less sharp, and he looked back on all that had happened to him, he had no doubt, not the slightest doubt in all the world, that this birthday turned out to be the very best he ever had. And that's the end of Ereth's birthday. Tune in next time for the next book in this series. See you then.